In Undertale, I think that a lot of people don't really give much love to the mini bosses in the game. And if you don't know what mini bosses mean, don't worry. They basically are like bosses in a game, except they're less difficult or like less big. Like they're not like as important of bosses as say like I don't know, like Metaton in the game. That's a pretty big boss fight. But then another one, like on screen, the Mad Dummy, is not a really big boss fight. Does that make sense? Like they're not as like they're mini bosses. And speaking of the Mad Dummy, he is the first one we have on our list for examples of Undertale boss fights that do not get enough love, in my opinion at least. And basically, as you can see from the footage on screen, he is, he's basically like the dummy you saw in the beginning of the game in the ruins. And he says, in the background footage, he says talk to him, but you scare him away if you talk to him. So this boss fight, you've got to do it, no matter what you do to the dummy. And also the music that plays is really good. It's like a remix of one of the other boss fight themes we'll get to later. And he basically, his character, he repeats things 3 times, which I don't know, that's just a little thing there. And he also has these attacks where if you try fighting him, he'll just break apart and come back together. And you'll have to, and I'm doing True Pacifist on this right now, not neutral like my last one, but you'll have to use his little dummy attacks and it'll hit him. You have to you have to dodge them and make them hit the Mad Dummy instead of hitting you. So, yeah, that was a pretty cool part about this boss fight. No basic attacks either. These are just and it's kind of satisfying to see him get hit, especially when all of the little bullets hit him. And I think that'll be later in the boss fight that you'll see this, but he eventually just gets rid of the current dummy attacks that he has and replaces them with robot dummies. And that was, and that he's like, I don't need friends, I have knives, and then he just throws a knife and he misses anticlimactically. And then later, Nabstaluk, which is another mini-boss we'll get to later, actually comes in at the last part of the boss fight, and it's kind of funny because she, is it a she or a he? I'll just say it's a he. He thinks that you are friends with the Mad Dummy, and you guys were playing, but you were fighting actually, and it's just pretty awkward and funny. Then afterwards, then you go to Waterfall, complete the rest of the game. Just a little, this part doesn't really add much to the game, it's just a little mini boss, and I actually like the character for the Mad Dummy. He's pretty funny, like most characters in Undertale. But, on to the next boss. So unfortunately I don't have footage for this boss to show you. I know, sad times, but we are talking about Nabstaluk. Yes. This is probably the most popular mini-boss, because I feel like the other, or not, I think, I'm sure that the other mini-bosses are not near as, popular as Nabstaluk is. And if you don't know Nabstaluk, they're in the ruins. They're actually pretty early on in the game, unlike the Mad Dummy, which we just covered. Nabstaluk is actually a pretty awkward ghost character, and their boss fight if to do pacifist, you have to like cheer them on, and like they have like jokes, and they're pretty funny. And they also save you from the mad dummy, or not save you, I guess just make the mad dummy go away from you in the mad dummy boss fight, just like I said earlier. In Nabstablook, they don't really have any like big roles in the game, which makes them a mini boss. Like, they only have one fight, and then you can like go to their house and you play this really weird music. I'm gonna be honest. It's called Spook Tune. And there's also Spook Wave in like the CDs, and it's just really funny and weird at the same time. And her favorite activity to do is just lie on the floor and feel like garbage, because apparently it's a family tradition. They're literally ghosts. Yeah, this is probably the most popular because a lot of people, I'm not gonna say any names, but a lot of people don't even get past Snowden when they first play the game. Yeah, and they've probably done the Nabstablook boss fight, because there's no way anyone has an attention span that's so low that they can't even get to the Nabstablook boss fight if they have the game. And to see the character come back is pretty nice, instead of just being in the ruins, being like one-off fight. And yeah, and most mini bosses on this list are actually originate from the ruins, so that's pretty cool. Anyways, on to the next boss. Now for the final boss, it is, of course, or the final mini boss, it is, of course, Muffet. Yeah, this does actually, I feel like the character design is really genius, and I know Toby Fox didn't actually make this character, some people like recommended it, but this boss fight has a separate game mode that's like purple, and you're on like strings, and like you'll just see in the background footage. It's pretty cool how this boss fight works. Obviously this footage is not in True Pacifist because I've used this before, just because some commenters might point that out for some reason. But we're talking about Undertale mini bosses. So yeah, in this boss fight, basically you're in a separate game mode, kind of like the Papyrus boss fight, like you're in Blue or Undyne boss fight. You're in like this one game mode that's like only for this boss, and this game mode's pretty cool, and the attacks utilize it really well. It's pretty fun to play this boss fight, actually. And she also has this pet that appears 3 times for lunch or for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And then once you get past dinner time, then you can win the boss fight without killing them, of course. Now, how you actually can easily beat this boss fight, like without in True Pacifist, is by eating like the spider donut or like the spider cider from the ruins. Another boss fight that originates from the ruins. And yeah, there's like a spider bake sale in the ruins, and you can buy the things for pretty cheap. And Muffet is apparently the one who owns the bake sale. So if you don't buy from her, it's whatever, but that's a really easy way, and they're trying to use the money to get out of Snowden, or to get to Snowden, not out of Snowden. They're in the ruins. And there's some pretty cool information about the spiders in there. But I think this boss fight doesn't get enough love because of the separate game mode. I don't know. I mean, this game mode had some potential. For Undyne, it kind of made sense. Like, no one really has directional bullet attacks. It's usually just, like, scattered. So for Undyne, the green soul made sense to be exclusive to that boss fight. But I don't get why the purple game mode was, because this could work for different attacks. Like, I know these different game modes are supposed to be exclusive to like boss fights, but if this was in like normal encounters, like of spider enemies, that could be really cool. That would actually work really well and would be pretty cool. But that's unfortunately not a thing. Maybe someone should make a fan game about like with spider enemies. Nah, it wouldn't really work. Or like I'm getting off track. I just think Muffet, she is a nice character, and she is a pretty popular mini boss, but like I think Toby Fox didn't give Muffet, this character, this mini boss, enough love in like their separate game mode. But their lore is actually pretty cool, and especially if you're in the genocide route, Muffet, if you don't one-shot her, then Muffet will start revealing some pretty deep lore. Anyways, those are some Undertale boss fights that, in my opinion, do not get enough love. So, yeah, bye.